Hi, welcome back to the atom42 Excel Academy. Today we're going to be diving in and talking about pivot tables straight away. Hopefully this is going to be a basic example to the beginning uses of pivot tables. So if you've never used one before, this one's for you. As a rule of thumb, pivot tables are useful if you've got a data set longer than the page. So you can see my data set goes well off the page. And if you've got more than one dimension, so you've got a name, age, we've got gender here, those are all sort of dimensions, and this is sort of data. Because when you're looking at a table like this, it's difficult to extract data about one dimension only. I can only see really one line of data at a time. I can see stuff about Richard Wood, but I can't see things about females in total, can I? Or I can't see things about data about the family Wood. So I'm going to show you ways to pull information out of seemingly abstract tables. So the first thing you want to do when you've got a table like this is go up to Insert at the top. This is Excel 2013. This all works on Excel versions earlier than this, but the bar might be slightly different. Click on Pivot Table. If I'm within the data set, so I just click anywhere in the table, and I click Insert Pivot Table, you can see that it works out my table or range for me. If that doesn't look right, you can select it manually. You could also choose to insert it here, or you could insert it in a new worksheet. So I'm going to stick it in a new worksheet for cleanliness sake. Now we just get something blank. Don't be put off when you just see something blank here. That's because we can customize it ourselves. So the first question I might want to answer is, if I look back at our database, we've got things about gender. Let's just see what the difference between male and female spending habits are. So in this pivot table, down here, if you look in the bottom right hand corner, you can see we can put rows, we can customize our rows, we can customize our columns and customize the values that go in it, and we can also filter. So you drag the dimensions and the metrics from here and place them either in rows or columns. I often sketch it out before I would do it, so because I can't show you pencil and pen, paper and pen, I'll show you here. I might want to look at gender down here, and I might want to look at average spend there. That would show me something interesting that I wouldn't have been able to get out of this easily. So I know that I'm going to want gender as a row. So I drag that to row, that shows me what I want. And then if I go to monthly shopping cost, put that as a value, because I want the actual values there. If I put that in column, it'll look weird. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So yeah, now I can see the total sum of food shopping costs. So we can see that here, females spend more than men. If I were to put that in columns, it's going to look weird because it'll put down all the values as column headers. Now we don't want that. This is the most basic thing you could do with a pivot table. Quickly pivot that to get information you want. You could also right click on this and summarize values in a different way. You could summarize them by average, because really the total doesn't tell you too much. You could also summarize by maximum or minimum, and there's a few other more complicated options. If I make this pivot table slightly more complicated, if I take out gender and instead put second name, so I can see all the different families there, and I can see their total. Let's change this back to sum, so I can see all the families' sum of food shopping cost. I can extract data from this using a get pivot formula, which extracts data stored in a pivot table. You can write this formula, choosing the metric that you want to pull out, defining the pivot table, and then defining the criteria. Or actually, if you just type the equal sign and click anywhere in the pivot table on a metric, on a number, it writes it for you. So I can see I've just pulled out, as long as the second name is Ball, I'll pull out the monthly food shopping cost for that person. I'm just going to show you a quick example of how that might look in a real life example. So I've got all these names. If I replaced this part of the get pivot formula with a dynamic reference, I could drag that down and extract say I just wanted to see a couple of families, I could extract it very quickly using a pivot table like that. One warning, if I edit the pivot table and remove something from it, that will break. This only works as long as the pivot table is showing it. That's all I want to show you to begin with. I just wanted to show you how to create a pivot table, which you go, click anywhere in the data or highlight the data and go to Insert Pivot Table. Ensure that that's highlighted in the right area and click New Worksheet or Existing Worksheet, whichever you prefer. And I really want you to experiment with this bit down in the bottom right. Put different things in rows. You can stack things, so you could have gender and you could have age. And you can play about with these. So I can see all the male and female here, but if I want to expand that and just look at 12-year-olds. And also have a play with adding more metrics in, because this could get big and complicated, but have a play around. Any questions, fire them at excel@atom42.co.uk, and we'll put in some more exciting advanced uses of pivot tables, because there are a lot, and we'll create a video on that soon. Thanks.